All right, we are going live. I'm trying to set this up so that we have a fairly decent picture. Which way? I think this is the way that I need to be looking. Yeah, I've got this upside down. Hey guys. Okay, so it's Wake Up Wednesday, and I really want to be consistent in doing this series. Because I think right now, more than ever, we really need this. But I also know that I need this. And I almost didn't make it on today because I'm just learning my tech. And I see you guys are all hopping on. Hi, guys. I'm learning my technology. I have an editor that I work with, and I'm also trying to learn how to do a lot of this myself. And I suck at it at this moment. I'm not really great at it. I believe I can be because I believe in my capacity to learn new things. But I decided just to go live, and to heck with it. I'm going to just remember not to swear because you're not allowed to do that on YouTube. And that's going to be tough because I swear like a sailor, but I'm going to work on it. I wanted to connect with you guys for so many different reasons. One is that it's just, it's getting crazy. I mean, we're 8 months into this madness, and it's really challenging. And there's a lot of contention in the world. I'm in the United States. And it's not just limited to the United States. It's literally all over the world. But there's so much polarity, and there's so much, divisiveness. And as somebody who's very empathetic, I have such a visceral experience with that. And so I like to come on here so that I can maybe be of service to you guys. But you know what? Today, I'm the one who needed it, because I realized as I was trying to put together my video, which I made a couple of days ago, that I thought, like, who cares? Like, who's going to want to watch this? Like, who really cares what you think, Judith? Like, everybody's got their own stuff to go through. And I realized I was trying to do it perfectly. And I'm the first one to say that perfection is not part of the agreement that we have. This is not about perfection. 2020, oh my God. Like, talk about setting yourself up for a really rough ride if you're trying to do it perfectly. And I just wanted to come on today and just fulfill my vow to myself to get more consistent with coming on here. This is a series that means a lot to me, because I think that as people struggle, it really helps if we have a place where we can talk to each other and where we can connect with each other, because we need that. And there's so many people who are feeling isolated and who feel like they don't have a community around them. And you guys are so funny. I just want to be able to provide some kind of community in a public space where people feel loved and appreciated and heard and served and valued. And I've been really thinking so much about you guys and about this time and what's being called. And I actually want to pick up a piece of paper that just fell, because I want to, read a quote to you guys, because this is something that I came across today. And it's by Viktor Frankl, who survived being in a concentration camp and then came out to be just such a powerful force in the world. He wrote a very, very famous book, which I admit I have not read, but I've heard about it for years, and I have quoted from the book that I've never read, which is Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And this is a quote. These are two quotes from his book. And the first one is, when we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. And I think that that is 2020 in a nutshell. Like, we can't change the situation. We can only be challenged to change ourselves. I do believe, though, that when we change ourselves, the situation changes. It's like Wayne Dyer used to say, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And there's another quote from him from his book. And this came to him. Now, he was in a concentration camp. I can imagine what it might be like, but I could never know. And this is what he took from that experience. He said, everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And it's like, no matter what's happening in my life, I really try to remember that I have the power, the freedom. I have the freedom to decide how I'm going to view and the situation, and how I'm going to empower myself through it or disempower myself through it. And it was really interesting because I was having so many disempowering thoughts today. Like a ton. Hi, Misfit 636. I notice you. I talk a good game. And I think that I am a pretty positive person. But I struggle like everybody else. I have my moments. Anyone who's really close to me knows that there are times where I'm like, I'm not getting this. Like, it just gets so hard for all of us. And this year in particular, we've all had our lives explode. It's not fair. And I believe that life is here for me, in favor of me. And in my most lucid moments, I remember that when I am not being rattled around by my crazy, insane thoughts that really want to write the most horrifying script of gloom and doom. When I let that take off on its crazy, insane narrative, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. I forget. I always forget what I'm supposed to remember. I forget that I've got this toolbox filled with tools, and it's the time when I need to stop and breathe and like take a second for myself and remember that perfection was never part of the agreement. And I know that one of my thorns in this world, one of the things that I'm here to really master, is just authentically, truthfully being myself and walking my path and not expecting to do it perfectly. And I think that when you have a year like this, it really challenges that. And it's like, am I going to fight for my limitations? Which bugs that, I'm not going to swear, bugs the flip out of me. when I do that. And sometimes I do, and it's like, oh my God, I'm fighting for my limitations. Or am I going to surrender and remind myself of what I know to be true? That life is here for me, in favor of me, and never against me. I am drilling down on that. I am believing that I'm believing that when I remember that that's what I believe. And sometimes the crazy gets so crazy that you can't hear it. I sort of feel like I was just listening to an interview with Rachel Hollis, and she wrote the book. I have not read this book, called Girl, You Need to Wash Your Face or Wash Your Hair or something like that. I think there's one of each. But she talks about 2020, and I was listening to her on a podcast. It was the Mind Valley podcast with Vishen Lakhiani. I love podcasts. I'm going to be doing a podcast. And she was saying, you know, the thing about 2020 is like, you want it to be over and like wake up in 2021 and it's better. And it's not going to be ever. Not that it's not going to be better ever. It's that life is always going to show up and be challenging. Like, that's what life does. That's what the path is here, is that these challenges show up and then we get to navigate them, and we get to learn about our emotional resilience. We get to learn about who we are in the face of it. We get to stumble and fail and fall and screw up and forgive ourselves and hopefully forgive other people along the way, and then just start again with a clean slate the next day. So the things that were up for me today are, to be fully transparent and honest, was I really wanted to get this out. And what I had recorded, in my perfectionism, it wasn't good enough. And I have the documentary that I am making for my action figure, and I have to finance it. And I haven't figured out what that is yet. And I feel like time is running out. And it makes me really stressed, and it makes me feel like I'm failing. And I have such ambition around that to like tell a really big story. It's not just about the making of my action figure. It's actually a bigger story than that. And I think that it would resonate with so many people, and I feel so connected and passionate about that. And I'm having trouble getting that going. And that's challenging for me. I feel like I'm running out of time, and I'm not. So that's just a story I'm telling myself that I'm believing. And I know that I can tell myself a different story and a better feeling story. I also have another very big project that I'm not really ready to talk about. That is my moonshot project. That would make a huge difference. A huge difference. And it feels so big. And we're getting our hands around it, and we're taking all the steps. And I just wish sometimes my mind would just stop telling me what all the problems are and all the roadblocks, and just that I would remember that I am surrounded by resources. And so that was the thing that I was planning to talk about with you guys today, that I thought, I can't talk about this. I have no authority around this right now. And then I remembered it's not about having authority. Like, what? I'm no authority. Well, I'm an authority on a couple of things, but they're probably minor. Like, I know how to make great salad dressing. I would consider myself an authority. I make pretty good bread. I know how to kiss. I'm a good friend. But I'm not an authority. I don't want to be. I don't believe in hierarchies anyway. I'm all about dismantling the hierarchy. I'm such an anarchist at heart. But I felt like I couldn't really share with any authority what I wanted to share, which was about your feelings. And that right now, it's such a challenging time because there's so many feelings. Like, we're 8 months into this, and like there's some really hard feelings that are coming up, and giving myself and ourselves the space to feel these feelings, to really like give me, and I can only speak for me now, but I encourage you guys to consider it too, the space to feel whatever it is. And that takes some patience and some gentleness and some real tenderness with yourself, with myself, to like slow it down, hold my own hand, and feel the fear. It's really important because when I take care of me, it's like that whole put your own oxygen mask on first and then help the people around you. When I take care of me, then I am more in a position to help in the world. And I think that's really required right now. I think we need as many heart-centered, love-centered people on the planet right now. For those who can't access that in themselves, for those who are feeling marginalized and unseen, for those who need a helping hand, for those who need somebody to have sanity when they are not feeling like they have any. And that's something that we have to give ourselves, and take the time for that and give ourselves the space to do that. And to be kind with our words to ourself. I heard myself using words like I can't, and I never, and I always do this. And it was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not fighting for my limitations. I'm not fighting for my limited beliefs. And I'm not fighting to like keep this old identity that I don't even relate to anymore. So I just wanted to come out here and just say, wake up Wednesday. This one's for me to like wake up and not do it perfectly. Let myself be in process. Let myself feel the hard feelings and then share it, because we're a community. And I think that while I'm the face who comes out and is more in the public, I think it's really important that you guys also get to see that I struggle and that I have a hard time and that I don't have all the answers. But I will tell you this, I am absolutely committed to my growth. I am absolutely committed to the best life that I could possibly have. And I want that for everybody else. And I think that's what makes me me, is that I never felt like I was more special than anybody else. And if I ever did, I always knew like that was just some crazy deranged story I was telling myself to mask my sense of inferiority. We're the same. We just have different priorities, different beliefs, and different ways of dealing with life. But we're all in this together. We all live on one planet. We all have different families of origin and continents that we live on, and religious views or spiritual views or political views, but we all live here together. And I'm making a stand for love. Above all, I don't care about the other stuff as much as I care about love. Because I really do think that's the only thing that's going to save us. I don't think it's the right policy or the perfect plan or the whatever. I think it's each person rising up inside, finding some love, giving it to themselves, and then sharing it with everybody else. Because what you don't own, you cannot give away. what you don't have for yourself, you can't give to anybody else. So anyway, this went on longer than anticipated. I love you guys so much. Oh, hi everybody. Oh, I just want to keep it real, you know, and really, and I know that sounds so cliche, but I really do mean it, like authentically real, that this is a time to reach out to anybody who could use a boost and give them the boost if you can, if you have the resource to do it. And sometimes I think just being naked and honest is the best policy. So that's this Wednesday's Wake Up Wednesday. I'm committing to myself and to you to try to do this every Wednesday. And I'm going to figure out my tech. And if not, then I'm going to come on live and we're just going to throw it out there and see what happens. Juice. That's so sweet. Yes, I'll be your therapist. I have 0 degrees, although I did spend many years in therapy. And I'll tell you, I don't think there's a soul alive who can't benefit from a good psychotherapy session or several years worth. The best thing, I will tell you really quick and then I'm out of here. I had a really great therapist, and she, you know, a great therapist is when they kick you out. Like, I knew I was done, but I was so in love with her and we had such a great rapport, and I didn't really know how to leave, and she was just like, you're done, but you can always come in for a tune-up if you need it. And we all need it, you know. We've all had our stories, we've all had our hard times. I just don't know anybody who doesn't come from a really dysfunctional family. And I had a great family, but we are dysfunctional. Oh yes. And I think that we can all use, I don't think anyone, for the most part, is really encouraged to either be themselves or tell the truth about how they're feeling. I mean, my goodness, what we do to children, shh, be quiet. It's too big, it's too much. Sit still, you know. The you're not okay as you are messages come in really young, and it scars so many of us, even when you have great parents, because their parents learned from their parents. You learn from their parents. So it's up to us to start breaking these cycles and getting as mentally, physically, and spiritually healthy, whatever that looks like, and it's going to look different for everybody else. And then pass it on to our kids or our grandchildren or our friends or whoever we love. Anyway, I love you guys. And I hope you're all having a great Wednesday wherever you are. I know I feel better having spent a little time with you. I love you. And you can be anyone's therapist. Any troubles I run into, I'll give you a jingle. You guys are so sweet. I think, yeah, I might be doing some conventions in 2021. I'm doing a convention at the end of the month, GalaxyCon. It's a virtual convention, and I think I'm doing another one in November. I'll keep you posted. All right, guys, I love you. And for all my Halloween Town fans, there is a video, a really fun interview with Kimberly J. Brown and I coming out, I think, on Friday. So stay tuned for that. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.